you're a landlord and there's this tenant of yours that don't know how to pay money. They know how to enter your house, but they don't know how to pay money. Or you, a tenant, this landlord, because he's the owner of house, he feel he can enter your house anytime because you are the one sitting in the house, so now the house is your own. But because he built the house, he feel he can enter. Just imagine. Hey fams, welcome to Education, the podcast that teaches you your rights and your obligations. In this episode, we're going to be telling you the fights that the landlord and the tenants used to normally have. You know, there's always that one thing that will be making the tenants to be angry or the landlord to be angry. So in this episode, we're going to break it down. I'm Rachel, your host, and with me here is Damilola.
So in today's episode, all those small fights that you and your landlord used to have, what we will talk about this today, and we'll give you the legal solution to it. So if not you are fighting with your tenant, or your landlord is disturbing you, or you shall have one issue, one thing, one issue like that, sit down. We are talking about this today. What you can do legally, we are talking about this today. So let's go straight into it today. And we have our guests as usual, our barista, our correct barista Timothy Adeyemi. Woo!
Thank you for having me again. It's good to be back.
Welcome, sir.
We're happy to have you with us
It's my pleasure.
today.
Tell me, sir, what are those fights? What are those quarrels that are common among landlords and tenants in our today life? Because the one of before is not the same as the one of today. So tell us.
Well, the foremost issue that landlord and tenant have is unpaid rent. Is this issue of rent? I want to collect my rent. I don't have the rent yet, and tenancy has expired and all of that. So unpaid rent is one of the topmost issues that landlord and tenants have. Another issue is increment of rent. Landlord just wakes up from back side of the bed and say, from 300k that you are paying, I'm increasing it to 600k. And all of that, those are some of the common issues that arise. Another issue that commonly come up is the issue of the usage of the property. Landlord is complaining that my property is not being used well, it's damaged and all of that. And tenants feel like, well, I've paid rent, I can do anything while I am still here and all of that. So these are some of the common issues that come up. One other common issue, which is related to the initial two, is the issue of eviction. Tenant is claiming legal eviction, landlord is claiming, well, I have served you notice, or it's my house, I can evict you anyhow. These are common issues. In fact, we are using Lagos as a case study. Section 16 of the tenancy law of Lagos specifically prohibits what we call illegal eviction. You cannot, even though the tenant owes you money, even if he owes 3 years, there is still a legal process for you to go through, both to claim your unpaid rent or arrears of rent, and to also take possession of your property. But you have to go through the process of eviction. One of the foremost things that the law requires is that you have to serve notice to quit, for instance. And after the expiration of the notice to quit, you also serve 7 days intention or owner's intention to repossess the property and all of that. After the tenancy has expired, and then you now serve 7 days notice that now I'm ready to collect my property back. And after you have served that notice and the tenant still refuses to leave the house, you can now apply to the court, get a summon, you know, sue the, what do you call it? Let me use the word, the language that you will easily understand. That you now sue the tenant to recover, number one, your possession, recover on your unpaid rent, and there is something we also call men's profit. That one, people believe that once my landlord has served me quick notice, from that day that I have served me quick notice until the day I leave, I'm not going to pay. You are going to pay. For every single day you live in that house, you are going to pay. And that's what we call men's profit. You know, court will say that from the day of the expiration of the tenancy, or from the day that judgment is given till the day you leave the house, you also continue to pay rent in proportion to the number of days or how long you live in the house. Yeah.
So sir, the day the landlord is giving me quick notice, I should be backing the next day.
No. What I said is, if the landlord gives you quick notice, for instance, the landlord is saying that, okay, I'm giving you 3 months quick notice. Now, within that 3 months, you should prepare yourself to leave the house. That after the expiration of your rent is going to expire in the next 3 months. After that 3 months, immediately you should leave. But if you don't leave, the landlord will still serve you a 7 days notice. And the notice is given to you is not quick notice. That one is intention to come and repossess that property. Okay. You understand? Now, if you still don't leave after the 7 days, now you can take it to court. And now the court will now give a judgment for you to leave. If there are damages, whatever, the court will now give a judgment based on that. But it does not mean that the day you are serving notice, you have to leave that day.
Okay. So what are the remedies that are available when disputes like this arise?
Okay. One of the remedies, there are a lot of remedies that you can ask the court for, depending on each situation. Number one is you can ask for injunction. For instance, my landlord keeps showing up in my house just to come and disturb me, to disturb my quiet enjoyment of my property. I can get injunction from the court to what we call it, to prohibit him from doing that. You understand? I can ask the court to make an order prohibiting him from interfering with my usage of the property for the time being. All right. As a landlord, you have told the tenant not to partition, but you see the tenant, maybe you can get an injunction for what do we call it, to stop that tenant from doing what he's doing. Another thing, you can also get an injunction from the court to recover your possession. All right, that the court will make an order that the tenant delivers possession of the property to you. All right. On that, there is also an order for possession that you can actually ask for an order of possession. Apart from maybe asking for injunction, all of this and all of that, you can also ask for, specifically ask for order for possession. That is, court gives the order that a tenant should deliver the property to the landlord. You understand? Especially when you have served the required notice. Sometimes, just like I can't remember who gave that illustration, maybe in our last episode, that situation where tenants just rent out, lock it, travel. Tenancy expires, the the tenant is nowhere to be found, the house is there, no rent, no possession, and all of that. You can apply as a landlord, you can apply to the court that the court will grant you or an order of possession of that property. If that is done, usually the bailiff of the court and all, they have a way of enforcing that judgment of the court. In that situation, they can, the court official, they can now break into the house to now maybe take the property out and all of that. But you have to first get the order from the court. Another very important remedy is claims for damages. A tenant can claim damages, a landlord can claim damages. There are different instances. For a landlord, for instance, the tenant has damaged your property or has misused the property and all of that. You can claim damages for all of that. As a tenant now, landlord enters into your property unlawfully, for instance. This interesting thing, maybe in another episode entirely, we are going to talk about the law of trespass. When a tenant is in possession of that property, as a landlord, if you want to come for inspection without giving the notice to the tenant, you enter into the property, that your entry is regarded as unlawful entry. Even though you are the owner of the house, but as long as the tenant is in possession of that property, the tenant has the right of possession over that property. And if you enter unlawfully, even as a landlord, you can actually pay. The tenant can sue you for trespass, and the court will grant damages for that trespass. A lot of issues that can come up that you can also ask for damage for. But the general thing is both the landlord or the tenant, depending on the situation. Sometimes it is when they talk to us as lawyers that we analyze it and say, oh, these are the remedies available to you. These are the remedies available to you. Another very important remedy that they can seek, both the tenant and the landlord, is order for specific performance. That's what we call it. Specific performance. Oh, give an order that the landlord, I have paid my rent, I have done my own part of the agreement that we have, but the landlord is not doing his own part. Oh, one of the things we agreed on in the agreement is that when I pay, the landlord is going to deliver the keys to me on the 1st of June, for instance. But I've paid, I've done my part. The landlord has refused to deliver the keys to me and all of that. The landlord says he does not like my face. And after I've paid them, you can ask the court for specific. We already have an agreement. Ask this landlord to perform his own part of this agreement. As a landlord, a tenant who is supposed to maybe do certain what do we call it, certain terms of your agreement, but has not done it, and you as a landlord, you have done your own part. You can also ask for specific performance. That's just as the name implies, that the court will give the order to the other person to perform specific duties they have under the agreement. So those are some of the remedies available.
In a situation where some issues are arising in the house, maybe in a compound where there are like 6-7 flats, and then there's like a public kitchen or a public toilet where everybody is using. If in a situation where there is like a problem or there is a leakage or the sockaway is full and all of that, and it's the landlord's duty to resolve all of that, but the landlord is not doing his duty, are we going to go to the court to follow some processes, or we can attack the landlord?
Attacking in fact, that's one of the things that the landlord can even ask for damages for. That you attack the landlord, you pay damages. Usually it is the user of the property. Issues like soak away, take up soak away and all of that. Usually it is the duty of the tenant. You are the one using it, for God's sake.
How about if the landlord is also in the compound?
That notwithstanding, there is mutual agreement. Oh, we are all users. There is a way all of you come together to say this is how we want you to do. But you are the one using it. How do you expect the landlord to come and help you to pack your you understand? But if in your agreement you have specifically stated it there that issues of repairs, when it comes to certain repairs, you have specified the parts of repairs that will be the duty of the landlord, the parts of the repairs that will be the duty of the tenant, and you have specifically said it there. Now that issue of that repairs now come up. For instance, maybe leakage, the buildings that during rainy season there is leakage and all of that. That is the duty, for instance, of the landlord, and you have also stated it in your agreement. The landlord is not doing it, and yet you have paid it. You can ask for order of specific performance for the court to order that tell my beautiful landlord to come and repair my roof. And because if that refusal now leads to damage of your property and all of that, that's another issue that you can ask for damages for, because it is not your fault now. It is the fault of the person that is supposed to carry out that assignment. You know, all of these things is usually determined by the agreement you have. That's why the tenancy agreement is important. You spell out all those specific terms.
To my future tenants, don't worry, I'm not going to stress you. I'm a cool landlord. I'm a cool landlady. A very chill one at that. Thank you very much, Sam, for this
Wonderful.
very, very wonderful
information.
Facts.
I'm sure you did not know before. I'm sure most
Now
of
you know. And you better know and know it well.
Yes. And to know more, subscribe. I'm always saying subscribe. You cannot know more. They will abuse your rights. Especially in this part of the country that we are, part of the world that we are, they will abuse your rights. So subscribe so that you can watch more. Like our videos. Let your neighbor to know. As you know, let your landlord know too. Share it with them. We'll see you next time.
Maybe they should send it to their landlord.
Yes, exactly. Send it to your landlord. Send it to your tenant. Tenants. Send it to your landlord. So that
Future tenant, send it to me.
Alright, so we'll see you in our next episode. Bye.